the same class as me because I'm from the class that can feel someone's judgment through a screen, that gnawing bellyache, through nails chewed to the quick, through obscenities unspoken, through the gritting and grinding of teeth. I'm from the class that thinks it's psychic, a master class of interpreting minds beyond the veil, beyond the weak veil of manners, the class of say it to my face behind my back, the relax will you class. No, you're not from the same class as me, because I'm from the class that grew up with cold water, the rats out class, the shut your mouth class, the hush hush don't be telling them our business class. You're not from the same class as me, because I'm from the class that asks, am I spending too much? Am I allowed? Am I entitled? You're not from the same class as me, because I'm from the class that secretly wants to cipher instead of play Xbox. The class that whips your 50 while you spill your guts. The class that gets its adolescent bevies emptied by pseudo-heavies. Best thrill of a Garda's career poured out a 15-year-old's beer. You're not from the same class as me because I'm from the class that burns and gets burned. Don't like the Bartman, fire like arson. Who needs frenemies when you have fam like these? The class that doesn't laugh at top deco, bottom deco. Anto with the samurai sword, being a real life person. They get your hands out of your jocks, you haven't got a clue, class.
You see, you're not from the same class as me, because I'm from the black market economy class, the robbing knickers off the washing line class, the shop dead in front of your ma's gaff at 20 years old class, the me whole family's on the dole class. You don't even call me working class. If your man who grew up in a 2 down, 2 up gaff and his dad drove a nice car is working class, and your mum with the art teacher father and actor mother is working class, then don't even call me working class, because I'm from the slash your cousin's face with a blade and still be mates in a few weeks class, the breaking and entering class, the shotgun to the head class, the people pissing and shitting and shooting up on the stairs of the flats class, the wreck the fucking gaff at a party and on mad one class, the shut your mouth what are you looking at, you'll get your head smashed in class, the bogey looking cunt in a black hoodie or the Canada Goose jacket class, the Nike and Adidas white runners wearing class, and yeah, it's fucking runners, not trainers, you dope. This is Dublin, not America. The smoke weed every day, do coke with your uncle in the toilets of the pub class, the Anto, Wacker, Jacinta, Charlene, 10 brothers and sisters class, the one-parent junkie man, that brother sells crack class, the batter burger and chips with loads of salt and vinegar on it from the chipper class, the yup out of that one you man thing, what's the story bro, grand class, and the I'm not on Twitter because it's full of posh dopes class, the I do the gym, lift weights, eat protein, do the stats and get fucking huge class, yeah, so don't even call me working class. If your woman whose daddy owns a farm is working class and your man whose mammy's the skilled principal are working class, then don't even call me working class.
You're not from the same class as me because people get surprised when I talk eloquently, because people get surprised at my personal library. You're not from the same class as me because I'm from the class where people don't know how to articulate what it is they hate about the appropriation of the working class voice, and they just stay angry and quiet and repressed and undressed, and you hang out our dirty washing for us. You're not from the same class as me because you adopt my habits like a guise for clicks and flops. You're not from the same class as me because mine is a class that's punching its fist into the palm and bashing its temples while you pinch the dimples and cue. Nah, you're not from the same class as me because in our class, yes, our men stuff swords in their trouser legs and bottles of vodkas up their sleeves. You're not from the same class as me because yours is a class that fetishizes ours. Yours is a class that slaps our arse and tells us it's only a laugh. You're not from the same class as me because where I'm from, you're half-breed and you call your middle class parent posh. Where I'm from, we can read you in a split second, even if you're wearing the right runners. Nostalgia de la boo, slumming it with the NCAD hobos. We're the poor on purpose class. We're the whole class and its mother that goes, poor. You're from the class that attempts to alienate us from ourselves by feigning solidarity dressed up as entertainment. You're from the class that psychologically alienates us from ourselves, psychic alienation and geographical alienation. Not only alienating us from our own spaces, but alienating us from our own psyches. Bell hooks.
Yeah. If you never had the electricity or gas cut off in your flat when you were a child, you're not from the same class as me. If you had 2 working parents, you're not from the same class as me. If you live in a suburban estate, you're not from the same class as me. If you didn't drink 30p bottles of cream soda and ask for a butsy on your mate's bar of chocolate when you were a kid, then you're not from the same class as me. If you don't know anyone who's in jail for murder or was murdered in a drug feud, well then you're not from the same class as me. If you pronounce poem, defo not from the same class as me. If you don't think any kind of fish except cod or ray or canned tuna is posh food, I hate to tell you, but you're not from the same class as me. Yes, you're from the if anyone slags me mad, I'll kill them class. Stay up at 5 in the morning to watch the UFC in the big boxing fights class. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to, you muppet class? Any change for a hostel bro? Class, pull a wheelie on a bike, do a wheel spin in a jammer class, the joyriding, bomb lighting, bangers and rockets, rapping payback away for 50 class, where the girls put filler on their lips and a little nagging in the handbag on a night out and go and shake their hips and take a few pics where they do a pout and stick their bums out, not because the patriarchy told them, not for any man because they're looking stunning home class. Yeah, shout out to all me huns and girlos. Yeah, I'm from the Kelly Harrington class, the Christy Dignam class, the Troy Parrott class, that loves a chicken fillet roll sitting in bookies all day, ask me bollocks class, they commit suicide, stab someone sexually abused by priest class, they fill up all the fucking jails in the land class, they lose your leg from injecting gear into a class, they scald someone with a kettle of boiling water in a Mountjoy prison class, they shut up his bleeding load of ticks fucking little fields around me face class, they stick it up your fucking hole class, yeah, so don't even call me walking class, if you're down there or got kicked out of the gaff, then you're not from the same class as me. If you prefer coffee to a nice cup of tea, if you don't like a rasher and batch bread sambo, if you have a double-barreled surname, if you don't eat turkey and ham for Christmas dinner, if no one in your family was ever strung out, if you don't know what strung out means, if you prefer bachelors to Heinz baked beans, if you don't think purple snack bars are bleeding lovely, if you call your nanny your grandmother, your granddad, your grandfather, then you're not from the same class as me. If you work high up in an arts organisation but you don't make art, then you're not from the same class as me. If you don't think that every politician in the Dáil's a fucking wanker, if you don't respond to it with, yeah, I know pal, I know, when someone tells you something you don't fucking know, well pal, you're not from the same class as me. If you're sitting around crying that the universe didn't deliver what it cosmically ordered, if you were never at a funeral and someone took out a big bag of yolks and you all said, that's why you wanted, then you're not from the same class as me. If you don't call Barbara Streisand your one with the big nose or Ryan Tuberty that goes off the telly, then you're not from the same class as me. If you've ever been stung by a microaggression, then you're not from the same class as me, because we're being hit with macroaggressions on the fucking daily. When you're getting triggered by a word, we're getting triggered by a gun. So don't speak for me, don't mine on me. Don't represent mine on me. I speak for mine and me. I represent for mine and me. For O'Devaney Gardens, Sean McDermott Street, for Sheriff Street Flats, Ballymun and Gardner Street, for Coolock, Finglas, Summerhill and Kevin Barry, for St Michael's Estate and Fatima and Teresa's Gardens, for Dalton House, School Street, Jamebo and Constitution Hill, for all the high-rise flats and the maddest estates in this city.
I'm from the class that hides its hurt by showing it. I'm from the class that is classier than you because it will turn up its nose at half a cup of tea. I'm from the class that feels sorry and guilty that I can't speak Irish and that still finds it elitist. I'm from the class that actually doesn't need you to keep saying they're pitting us against one another, they're pitting us against one another. I'm from the class that's too polite to tell you that you're ignorant. I'm from the class that's born angry, born addicted. I'm from the class that surprises you with its statistics. I'm from the class that is not your entertainment propaganda, not your trend, the class that's not your friend. I'm from the class that understands but listens to the explanation politely anyway. I'm from the class that belongs but doesn't have to prove it. I'm from the class that simultaneously knows and does not know what it is and what it is not. I'm from the Disney class. I'm from the I'm not your Disney princess class. You're from the posh traveller class, hashtag Minkeri on X, while I'm in class with the Romany girls and boys. And Google Translate or in the toilet scrubbing the K word off the door and taking accidental right hooks from amateur bare knuckle boxers saying drepta stenga. I'm from the class that is the last to learn what socio-economically underprivileged, disadvantaged, deprived means. I'm from the class that laughs when you say that we are self-disenfranchised. I'm from the class that you are shushing, but don't shush others. Mine is a class that does not believe less is more. Mine is the class that robs the throat for a box. Yours is the class that fears and reveres us. Mine is the class that carries out that final act of rebellion while you fundraise.
Last one. If you have a 5-year plan or a marketing strategy, if you want a bigger house with an extra lavatory, if you think vol-au-vents are really nice and tasty, if you don't bless yourself when you pass the church, if you eat cold soup or don't call every tall man lurch, if you call it ketchup instead of red sauce, if you don't love 2-pack Biggie and Boys in the Hood, if you drink Actimel because it's good for your gut, if you're lactose intolerant or you like blue cheese, if you call your missus or fella your main squeeze, if you drink peach snaps or mulled red wine, if you never broke open an Easter egg with your head, if you don't love an old packet of potato or cake ribs, if you never relied on the Christmas bonus from the dole, if you ever told someone to go and ask your fucking hole, if you don't think Marks and Spencer's a posh British shop, if you never pick cigarette butts off the ground to make a rollie, if you never told your friends not to course in front of me nanny because she's very, very holy, if your job pays a salary of more than 50 grand a year, if your dad owns you money to get your first house, if you don't think a chicken jalfrezi is mad fucking spicy, if you don't use stock cubes because you make your own, look at fucking Jamie Oliver, what? If you don't know a young one who goes out with a red hot, if you ask the question, will we be alright when we go to the Scotland and turn down? If you think a young fella that sells a bit of weed or a few yokes at a party is a big drug dealer, if you never watched a documentary about Pablo Escobar or his hippos, if you call money spondoolies, or you say, my friend Roger's a chick maker, if you don't think Love Hate's the best show ever on RTE and the rest of telly is shite, if you don't stop what you're doing when the Angelus bells ring out from telly, if you prefer rugby over football or drink herbal tea when you're not sick, if after you give a mate a compliment you don't tell him, you're still a fucking prick though. If you're a young one who doesn't love a few bargains and pennies, if you really give a fuck about who won the Booker Prize or the Oscar for Best Motion Picture, if your child's favourite dessert is anything except ice cream and jelly, if you never got followed around Central by a security guard because you look fucking bogey, if you never got so stressed because you had no money for Christmas that you planned in your head how you do a bank robbery, if you never seen a man get stabbed or hit with a hammer or jumped on by a load of lads, or heard the woman in the next flat getting her head beat by your husband, or stood on the balcony or street and watched your neighbours scrapping and felt the threat of an ever-present possibility of violence breaking out at any moment, if you never owned a loan man money or you had to pawn your best jewellery for your ma's birthday present, if you don't take the mickey out of people because you love them, or knock in next door with tea bags, or make a collection for the family when someone dies or asks, what's the story, pal? How's things? Everything alright, yeah? If you don't sin when you're winning, or losing because there's fuck all else to do, if you don't think this poem is fucking whopper or class or bleeding deadly, then you're not from the same class as me and you never wear it.